you ready?
Are you kidding me? That's what?
Yeah, every so often it happens that Ryan is right.
100% right. Not even a little bit right.
Tucker Pullman, 2 points last game.
No kidding.
My man!
Hey, neither does me running shirtless, but that turned out very well.
Welcome to the PP1 Podcast.
Much like Amazon 3 times today, the PP1 Podcast delivers. Welcome to the latest episode. It's late in the third period. Canucks, Panthers, Roberto Luongo night. We're not the Canucks, but you don't need to worry about that because you're here with us. At least two of you, anyway. Welcome to the PP1 Podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network, presented in concert with Draftkings, promo code THPN. We got a little bit of a retro theme based on Roberto Luongo's comments tonight. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, I haven't watched the game yet, so I'm excited to hear what you got to hear. I've got it, recorded. I'm going to check it out later, but I don't need spoilers. I'm not worried about, so I just want to hear about stuff about Lou. All good.
I could ruin it for you, and I still think you'd enjoy what
you can ruin it. It's all going to be fine.
Yeah, you're still going to enjoy it. I'm telling you. So I'm wearing my Heritage Classic Roberto Luongo tee in honor of Lou in a game he did not play, but that's okay. That's okay. I figured
he was dressed in the nines, though. He was ready.
Oh, why not have the T-shirt that nobody was going to want very, very shortly after? So I thought, and I think I got a good deal on it, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That was like one of the things I was really excited about. Obviously, we're all really excited to see Lou play in this game for various reasons, but it wasn't because Lou is awesome. It wasn't because he was, our goal. He was slowly being phased out. And they're giving all those starts to Eddie Lack. I mean, what was the main reason for you why we wanted to see Lou for all of these games? Because for me, it was because the guy had just incredible swag. Like every opportunity that he had, him debuting so many new masks, so many different pad setups. I adored the fact that he wasn't superstitious, right? I mean, we only got to see a couple.
But he was a little stitious, though.
Not with his gear, though. He was okay to be. No. Well, he did, but he was okay to try out new stuff, right? I mean, so many different pad setups. It was like, it was a goalie buff's dream to see a guy rock so many different setups, and I was waiting forever to see a Vancouver Canucks goaltender wear the classic leather brown pads in the Heritage game. It's all I wanted to see. We never got to see it happen. Lack's setup was dope, but it wasn't what we were looking for.
No, Luongo still had his own setup too. It was tough because I am one of those fanboys that loves goaltending equipment. I think Instagram has been the absolute best for that because we're back and forth saying, "Oh, did you see this setup? Did you see this setup?" Like even in the All-Star game last year with Hellebuck, and he had like the glitter stick, and he had like our normal podcast color scheme, the pink and like the Miami Knights kind of color scheme. I mean, you geek out so hard on all those, like the details that don't matter really. Like most people don't care, and yet there's
but I can look at all of it. I just love it. Yeah,
it's so much about it. Like I could go on for days because there's so many setups that I lose it on because I just like that. You saw that Russian goaltenders.
I was just going to bring it up. Yeah.
Like I thought it was actually Seattle for a second, but it was a Russian goalie. I mean, you get up for that stuff. And Luongo was always on par. There was one mask I hated, and that was
really. There's a mask you didn't like.
He had which one was it now? The Tuke one was okay. His last Tuke one was okay, but it was one of his bone colored ones, and it he just didn't have a good record in it. Like it was kind of Luongo masks. There was one that just really bugged me because he had a better one, and like the Johnny Canuck one that he had prior to his run with the Cup and the 40th anniversary bucket that he had.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
I'm trying to like to think about which mask you're talking about. I mean, there was the obviously there was the one where he first came to Vancouver with the burgundy and the navy blue. Pink Panther tail in the back. It wasn't that one. He switched to
I feel like
classic
maybe
Johnny
it was
Canuck
the
one.
40th one. Maybe I'm being ridiculous on myself. Maybe it was the 40th.
There was the Johnny Canuck one with the plaid, right? And then there was a Johnny Canuck one with the mustache, like under here, and then he was wearing a toque, right? Then there was the bone one with the V that came down the side in a C, and then there was a silhouette of the Johnny.
I think it was the 40th one, and I finally just like learned to love it because it ended up being awesome. But I think like for me, and you know me, I'm so picky on like these stupid things. Like it's like, man, it's awesome. Just enjoy it. And I do.
So great.
But he had so many, like his Olympic one with the one and it had the gold rings in it was just, it was perfect. He had, I mean, his first one was super cool because it was a take on what he had in Florida.
It had the Jason and the grizzly bear.
Ridley one. The Kurt Ridley tribute one was pretty sick as well.
So one that I really like that I think a lot of people don't always talk about, it was the solid bone color, and it had the X like that kind of went.
Yeah, that's the Kurt Ridley one. Yeah,
that was. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, that one was just like he didn't wear it the whole time though, which was unfortunate. But
and then his one. I found his one for the Winter Classic or Heritage Classic, whatever, was very. It was almost really boring. Like it was like it was almost. He almost took like the part like too personal. Like it was almost just too exactly what it should be. I think is kind of funny. You got a picture here. Oh, I'm gonna share this. Let's add to the stage.
This one here is what you're talking about. And there's the Ridley one.
Yeah. So I mean, it's too bad we didn't get the mask. And he still killed it when he went to Florida. He still had some epic ones in Florida.
Look, this is like very. This one's very Casey DeSmith like, right? I mean, yeah, he's been doing the big stripe down the middle. There's the old Jason and grizzly bear mask. This is the one I never really got huge into.
And I think maybe that was the one that really rubbed me. But I mean, it's still cool. It's just he just had so many killer ones.
Nobody likes getting really rubbed. Look at this one.
Yeah, that one's dope.
There was some beauties in there, but I always liked that he went with like, because not a lot of guys were doing it with the mostly white backgrounds, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I was just gonna say, like, you remember? I don't want to bring it up, but like the Corey Crawford, the Tim Thomas, like that. Remember the bone, like the white with the silhouettes on them? You remember that kind of look? As much as it bugged me that those guys were wearing them, I love them so much. I think did Fleury have one too, or someone else in Pittsburgh? I think had one.
Fleury had the sort of silhouetted like attack killer flower on it and stuff.
Yeah, but that white silhouette I thought was super dope. It would have been cool to see Luongo pull one of those off, but that wasn't his mask designer. I think those are Dave Art ones. But regardless, just phenomenal. Actually, that's one guy.
His swag was just off the charts, though. And even when he went to white pads, like a lot of goaltenders started subscribing to that theory. Like now I see Demko in white pads, and I think it's great. I'm cool with it because it reminds me of Lou.
I feel like I'm saying it. Kind of funny that tonight, the Luongo, the Canucks win 4-0. Go figure. Demko gets a shutout on Roberto Luongo night. So fitting. It was really cool. Demko made like a wicked save in the first, and everybody looed him.
That's great.
Like it was one of those, like, you know what I mean? Like a tribute and like a high five. Like I know even Luongo, he's like, yeah, I hope you guys do really, really well, but maybe just not tonight. He said in his little speech. I thought was cool. But I mean, this is one of those moments watching everybody's giving him the nod. Like that's your Demko, isn't Roberto Luongo. Maybe not yet.
Different.
He doesn't have that same flash, but I think that's okay. He's doing it in a different way. But man, like a shutout on Luongo night, I think is pretty killer.
I would wager to say that his swag is very high end. I don't know if it's there yet from a Luongo standpoint, just because so many masks. Like I loved how he would debut 2 to 3 masks in a season. I love that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we'll get there with. I don't know if we get there with Demko, but Demko, if you look at
He's
Demko's
already had
old
some
stuff,
skate masks though. He's already had like the Mike Fountain
Yeah.
mask. He's had
it's
had
great.
like so he's already on that. And I think if I would like to see him even have another one for the skate, depending on how the skate jersey rolls around.
The new background, You switched us to skate. I like it.
Man, I did that today. I did that before the show.
I'm a fan. Change management.
Yeah, exactly. So leaving the little hockey podcast network up in the top, it tripled that up, got the throwback kind of very Germany looking, but whatever. It is what it is. Also promo code THPN. It's fun when you can play around with these things. I like messing around with this kind of stuff. It's very, very cool. But the Canucks are they're hitting that stride and they're becoming fun again. Luongo even said it. Now, this was the best part, and this is kind of why I threw all this stuff up tonight. So right at the end of his speech, he said one thing. He goes, and one more thing, free the skate.
Free the skate.
One more thing.
He's a man of the people. He's a man of the people, Roberto Luongo. Hey, he knows what he wants to give the people what they want, and
he knew it was up.
If he ever makes his way into politics, he's going to do real well.
Oh, geez. When he's the GM of Florida, man, I tell you. So Kuzmenko off the schneid tonight. Brock Besser scored again. Dakota Joshua gets a pair. One absolute beauty. And by beauty, I mean it was a monster giveaway by backup or Officer Bobrovsky to no one except Joshua. So he got a nice empty netter. Big game for the Canucks. They are now a couple points back first overall. No big deal. No big deal at all.
NBD.
Also, I should probably tell everybody on our YouTube and Facebook. I know there's some people on Twitter, but on our YouTube and Facebook is where you guys can comment along. We do have the chat open. By all means, come on by. Hang out with us. It's going to be a good time. We've renamed Rank to Top 5, and I got another absolute banger of a video for that. So Ted hasn't even seen it yet. It's going to be sick. So sick. So anyway, we got
I might change my top 5 list, actually. Maybe my top 5 will be something not what I was thinking. Maybe it'll be something different.
Okay. Man, you're going to love it. You'll be like, Rye, you dropped your crown, King. I'm just kidding. That's a little bit much. But let's stick with the skate for a second. So you brought up last week about the skate. You kind of caught me off guard because I was not ready to. I'm very guarded about this situation because it is the greatest thing that the Canucks have ever.
You were texting me about it. I was very confused by these texts from you.
Yeah, so I was just joking around, but the skate is the best Canucks jersey, and I want it done right. Like when they do this, I want them to knock this out, and I want to embrace this wholeheartedly because I do think it just seems like the writing is on the wall for this. Like it just does. Like I think marketing is starting to figure this out. Clearly, anything skate logo-y, color-y is selling and doing.
They're just doing what the people are asking.
Yeah, it's not hard. I mean, we brought this up a few seasons ago. Remember, before getting rid of Benning, like just throw out the skate. You're gonna buy yourself a couple weeks.
Just do as
you're gonna forget about stuff. Yeah. So I think this is what I think. What did you just say?
Just do as you're asked.
Just do as you're asked. Yeah.
The people are asking. The people are asking for it. Just give it to them.
Yeah. You go through drive-through and you're like, yeah, that'll be $13.43. Just give them the money, and you'll get what you've asked for. It's not hard. Here's what they need to do, and I'm hoping that this would be the greatest surprise ever. They come back from the All-Star break. No one has any idea what's going on. They come back, and there's a skate logo at center ice. And they embrace the skate. It's just like an unveiling. Because they've already started changing the seats in Rogers Arena, right? So they're getting some new seats in the lower bowl. I think and they're black as far as I know. So they're going to have the skate at center ice. They're still going to have the Orca, and they're probably going to maintain that likely as a third or something. And then they also release the white before the end of the season.
Sure, I'm here for that. Yeah.
And it's one of the best kept secrets that hasn't been leaked somehow. I don't know how this is possible, and maybe it's not. I mean, we used to be dialed in on this kind of stuff. And if we found out, we had to shut up until it became. We
used to have more information, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's super close because they reinvent the skate, right? They've worn it a ton, more than they were supposed to. They actually added a few games. This is not a coincidence. This is tactical. And then I told my wife tonight, told Christine, I said, okay, I know I said I don't want one of these skate jerseys because I said I don't need one. I don't wear jerseys anymore. But I said, if they release the white one, I'm changing. I said, I'm getting the white one. To me, that's the skate to me. The black skate was never like it, but it is it right now. Like this is, I remember buying an Orioles hat back in the day when it just retro stuff just came back out for baseball, and it was the Chubby Bird. And I bought this Nike adjustment. Like, I have to buy it because they may never re-release this. So I bought it. Sure enough, it's like their normal hat again. So I do believe that the white skate is going to come back for the Canucks. So, and then they'll have, home and away. They're going to throw in the skate the Orca as their third, just to keep that because it is the longest running logo in Canucks history.
Sure.
And
it's got a place now for sure.
Yeah, and they've made now ownership. The new ownership has made it. I mean, we're going to call it new ownership because they're the ones that own this logo now. They've made it their own, and now we can all enjoy this. We can all get behind it. Everyone in the NHL, all the fans, every other fan base thinks this is arguably the best jersey in the league. So if your opponents think it's the best jersey, and their fan bases and their media members, I mean, just like own it. And blow up the league. Like, wouldn't this? Let's say they go on some kind of maybe they don't go all the way, but maybe they go on like a conference finals run, and you're rocking the skate jerseys in the playoffs. I'm sorry, man. Next season to start.
Keep going. I'm almost there.
Yeah, I know. Just a couple more. Like, you can't contain that though, right? I mean, we thought the millionaire stuff.
Avalanche.
We thought the millionaire stuff was pretty cool, and they were rocking that. I'm rocking,
and it was like. I think if they had kept going with the millionaire stuff, I think we'd be more enamored with it now than ever. It's just such a clean-looking jersey. Yeah. Yeah,
very, very clean. Yeah, Canucks 41 points, 4 back of Vegas for first overall. No big deal. So that's how I feel about the skate logo. I think it's entirely possible that they go whole hog on it, and I think we're going to be excited about something again. And rightfully so. We deserve this. This fan base, since I've moved back to Kelowna, the Canucks have not been good. They were just at the tail end of their Stanley Cup final hangover. And then everything started changing. The Bo Horvat the pick for Corey Schneider, and then Bo Horvat, and then Torres.
Which I think at the time we were all pretty happy with that.
Yeah, but again, it was like, and remember? and we're all sitting there, and no, that's it. And no, and then it just continued. And you get the Beagles, and you get Spiza, and you get there's all these things, right? Louis Eriksson, and now we're here, and we're watching a Canucks team that, for whatever reason, has no business doing what they're doing. But man, it is now their business. And speaking of. Sorry, I've been talking a lot here.
Oh yeah, go. You just, man.
I feel like I got a lot to get off my chest. So
after it.
They're once again a unit, not including tonight. The Canucks are tops in the league for most goals, 111, and they scored 4, so 115 tonight. They have the 6th fewest goals allowed at 74, which is actually true because they didn't get scored on tonight. They have the highest second period scoring rate in the league. They are tied for second highest scoring team in the third. So basically, the Canucks finished strong. They're I think 7th or 8th for goals in the first. But I mean,
they haven't lost a game yet when leading after 2.
There you go. And they're once again the PDO Kings. And I was looking on natural stat trick, and it's 104. Someone says 113 that they're back up to. So not only that, and they have the highest high danger goals for percentage in the league. I think they're at 60% or something like that. The Canucks are an absolute, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to get away from it. They're a wagon. They're not a unit. They're a wagon. I'm saying it. Aaron, you're right. I'm sorry, man. Bad stuff. I apologize. And just to prove how nuts this is, I grabbed this from Jay Fresh right before the end of the game tonight. Check this little ditty out.
What is that?
So that is the cumulative PDO, the 23-24 Canucks versus historically high early season PDO teams. So remember we were talking about all those teams that had a crazy high PDO and then tailed out? The Canucks are the white line.
Yeah.
Thing.
That looks like Bitcoin getting its second win is what it looks like.
That's freaky, man.
Yeah. That's pretty stunning.
So there's a lot to like about this team right now. And all the crazy feelings we were getting, they're now being good team. Florida's a good team. Florida's one of the best teams in the NHL. Tampa, one of the best teams in the NHL. And they beat both of them.
I mean, I don't know if I don't know. Okay, Tampa is a good team. I don't know if I'm calling them the best team, one of the best teams in the NHL anymore. I don't know if they have that anymore.
I think
they've just lost so much. Like the power play is still. Don't get me wrong. Like any team that sports a Stamkos and a Demko and I mean, it's quality. Don't get me wrong. Very, very good. But are they part of the league elite still? Do you think that? Well, I don't know if I'm there anymore. I think they're a good team. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make some noise, but I don't know if I think of them as like the perennial favorite anymore.
Well, they're 9th in the East, which is fair, but it's pretty log jammed in there. But they're the 15th best team in the NHL. So they're right. I mean, they're right in the middle. So again, they're not, but they're 14. Where am I looking here? 14 and 12.
I don't know. You're rattling off a bunch of different stats here. I'm not sure what's happening.
I'm all over the place. Tampa's not a bad team. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, and the power play is still elite.
Yeah.
Power play is still elite.
I think long and short of it, though, they're scoring goals. They're taking names. And rightfully so. Like, this is, I don't know. Like, we start the season, Connor Garland, all that talk.
Yeah.
That's gone. Brock Besser, he's basically shed the last 3 years of everything that's been going on with him. I gotta take my hat off here.
Now it's just the one guy that's not producing, right? Now everybody's on that guy.
Yeah. Like it's even Kuzmenko tonight. Second good game in a row. Scores a beauty on a breakaway.
The best thing for everybody, if he just starts figuring it out, then we can just stop listening to all this garbage about trade Kuzmenko.
But I think
trade Besser. Who's playing the crummiest? I want that guy gone.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing we should talk about too, like Kuzmenko hasn't even begun to have the leash that Tyler Myers has had for the last 5 years. And I mean, Myers didn't have a great game. He had a couple terrible games.
And it was instantaneous. Like, it was instantaneous. He had a couple bad games. I should say couple. He had about 10 bad games.
Mm-hmm.
People were like, trade him. Trade him. Trade him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just such a, it's the guy's got to take time to figure it out. I can appreciate. I think the league knows, right? I mean, all the phone calls. We feel like we know that they've been getting phone calls about Kuzmenko, right? Rutherford alluded to that earlier. I'm not I don't handle the phone calls. You know, that's Alvin's thing, right? And
yeah,
teams around the league have been calling about Kuzmenko. Do you know why?
Because he's
very obvious to me. Because he's still a very good player. He's just in a bit of a slump, and people are like reacting to the backlash about this slump, right? Like, it's the one piece that's not firing on all cylinders on your roster that you're expecting to. Yeah. I'd say expecting to, because you're not expecting Myers to just go play all world, right? Like,
You've got Brian Earl Spillner. Was it Spillner from Fast and Furious? You've got his car and one of the
Spillman.
Yeah, and one of his subwoofers doesn't work, but the rest of the car is. You know what I mean? It's like everything is. He's got the NOS is working, car's running on all cylinders. He's got all the cool like digital stuff going on inside. Thing's an absolute banger of a car. It's like, yeah, one of the subs isn't quite hitting the way. It's like, does everything still work?
Got the big demon graphics on the side of the car and the freaking ground.
Man, the thing is absolute laser beams on the street. And you're like, yeah, one of the subwoofers it's a little bit off. Like, if that's what we're talking about, like that's what we're having to pick apart. Like, we're getting picky. We're getting really, really picky. So I think it's nice to see. I mean, what if we got to the point where just like everything was like going well, like not just like crazy good or anything?
I mean, it's pretty freaking close to.
Like, what if Tyler Myers just figured stuff out for a little bit? Like, what if this is the season? It's the very last one, and Tyler Myers goes and has like a great playoff or something. And we're like, oh crap, now what?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, what's funny about like the whole thing is like, could you imagine if that happened, if Tyler Myers went off and just, say the last half of the season, Myers puts up 20 points and pops 5 goals.
Dude, it's entirely possible.
Starts playing big minutes, right? Like is pivotal in some sort of exit from the first round into the second round, right? Of advancement.
Mm-hmm.
What's all the conversation going to be then about Tyler Myers?
It's going to be the worst. It's going to be, because everyone's going to say, you know what? I don't mind seeing Tyler Myers come back at a mill or two deal for like 2 more years. Like, he clearly can handle when the pressure's there. Like, okay, you guys, people, let's stop for a second. Let's just enjoy what we had, and we can afford to move on from this. And now we can have other things. Like, go and get Luke Shanahan. Like, let's see. Hey, how's Triakin doing? It's too funny.
Nikita. We got the other Nikita. I think this is the one we have is a little better.
I really like him. He's big and mean and hurtings. Besser scored. He's at 22 for the season. Brock Besser is he's everything I want in a Brock Besser. Like, if you had to build a Brock Besser, that's what I want. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's really like, I mean, we were just talking about the fact that Myers, if he was to just go on some run, right? What would everybody be talking about? How many years left in Besser's contract? Is this the last year?
I think this is it. Yeah.
Like, I should just look it up here real quick, because I would be curious. I think this is the last year, but I want to, like, before we go on this talk here, like, make sure that this is actually the last year.
Yeah, they've got some money to be spending, or maybe this is his second last year.
Okay. Last year, second to last year. Maybe you can look it up while I'm talking.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing that.
But
keep going.
It was, what do we have? We've had 4 years of sort of mediocrity from Brock, right? And he is just like absolutely banging this year. He is just like getting it done in every aspect of this game right now, except for maybe playmaking. Because he got like 6 assists or something like that.
Yeah, we've got him for this year, next year, and he's a UFA.
So he's due for a new contract next year, right? And so I have talked in the past about we cannot trade Brock Besser for a bag of pucks and having to give up assets to make sure that his salary gets off the team, right? I think I've been ridiculed a bit for this.
You also you wanted him traded, but
I did. I want to trade him while he has value, right? So here's the conundrum, right? Like, is the Brock that we're seeing right now the real Brock? Or is this an overextended Brock? Is the real Brock the one that scores like 20 goals and is good for 50 points? Or is the real Brock somebody that's like 30 to 32 goals or something like that, and he's probably good for about 60 to 65 points? Is that the real Brock?
I think that's the real Brock.
Right? Because that Brock is
now
not the Brock we're seeing right
game.
now.
Now he has a 200-foot game. So while he was,
I think he has developed that over time for sure. So I want to be clear here in the fact that I am a Brock supporter. I do love this player. I like him a lot. I believe that play can flow through them, and yeah, exactly. I mean, I was tooting this horn at the beginning of the season. It's his redemption tour, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I know you made the graphic, but I feel like that was me, right?
Are you the problem though?
It's yeah. Nice.
That was a Taylor Swift joke, folks.
Swift joke. Okay, so he does this season. What happens next year, right? Now we're in line for a contract. What are the 3 scenarios? The 3 scenarios are Brock re-signs as a Vancouver Canuck in the midst of another good season, right? Scenario number 2 would be he's traded away in the final year of his contract for assets. Instead of us trading him away and giving stuff for someone to take him. Thank God we're not in that twilight zone anymore, right? Probably to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
The third scenario is that he walks, that we let contract expire and they pull a Radim Verbata.
I don't think they let that happen.
A la damn Hammies. We know this regime is not stupid. That's not going to happen. Are you top knotting today? Good for you.
Yeah. bad.
Um,
I'm working on it.
what is the scenario here for Brock, right? Like what kind of contract is he going to be looking to sign? We've also got to lock up Pettersson. Hronik's up next year. I know people are shitting on me for saying like trade a player, not Brock necessarily, but trade a player while he's worth something, right?
They got
what is the scenario for Brock here? Where does this go? What do you think Vancouver has to do?
So they've got Dakota Joshua. They've got Teddy Bluger, Sam Lafferty, Elias Pettersson. Oh my gosh. Tyler Myers. Okay. Hronik Zadorov, Ian Cole, and Mark Friedman. And Casey DeSmith. Again, some of these do not matter.
Some of them don't matter.
You've got McDonough coming up on 10.2Cs. He's an RFA, sorry. Pods is an RFA. Linus Carlson's an RFA. Sheldon Dries is an RFA, or a UFA, sorry. Studnicka. You've got Cole McWard. I'm just going through everybody. Like, these are all contracts they're going to have to pony up for. Seelovs. They've got some goaltenders as well. There's a lot there that they're going to have. Like, there's the big stuff, which is obviously Pettersson is the big stuff. And I think they'll be able to figure out a few things after that, or they'll be in true Canucks fashion and they'll sign all the other little contracts first, which they may. But yeah, you have to get the big one done first. But what do they do with Brock? I mean,
Brock's currently taking up 8% of cap percentage right now. 8%. To give you a little bit of an idea of how big that percentage is, current highest paid player on the roster is JT Miller's taking up 9.6%. I don't know if that helps you in what you're about.
The cap goes up in 2 years again. What do you think Brock's making? Like 8?
Can we pay him? Can we pay him 8? Like we just spent all these years paying him 6.65, and we're only just happy now.
Well, we're happy now because he's finally earned it.
I love it. We're loving him going off right now. Don't misconstrue this for me. This is me dumping on Brock. This is not
no. But he's finally now at the point where he's earned it. He's earned what
he's earning his money.
Like.
He's earning his money and maybe a little bit more, right?
Yep.
Probably more.
So if he's anywhere remotely close to, as far as a goal total, because that's what you're paying him for. You're not paying him for assists.
Sure.
Right? Same as Kuzmenko. You're not paying him for assists. You're paying him to put the puck in the net. That is the job that you've hired him to do. He is a shooter. I think that is the job. If you're paying him to score goals, I think if you're now, again, we're 2 seasons away from this, but a season realistically from contract talks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there is a very realistic possibility. I think they like what they have in Brock Besser. I think,
homegrown player.
It sucks. It sucks that it's too bad that you have to get personal with so many players, right? Like, it'd be nice if we could just treat it as like a business transaction. Like, we like what you do here. Keep doing your things, instead of like, hey man, we love you as a human being. You're awesome in the community, all this stuff. And you're also paying for that too. I mean, people need to remember that part. You're not just getting the guy that shows up on, Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. You're getting the guy that's in the community. He's going to Canuck Place. He's going and doing this stuff away from the big screen. You're getting a guy that is a phenomenal human being. And I think you need more of those people just in general.
I think
he's $8 million. I think he's an $8 million player 2 years from now.
He's JT Miller money?
Well, current JT Miller money, yeah. Hey man, I don't make
so he's got to. I mean, that's fine. So your assessment of this is that he's got to stay on the roster at $8 million.
I think that's the number.
Cap's going to go up a little bit, right? It's not going to go up $8 million.
Well, in 2 years, it's going to go up. They're 80. What did they say? 87 next year, right? So what are we now? So that's another cap. 87. Yeah, maybe even a little bit more. Maybe 88. So yeah, I think he's an $8 million player. I don't think he's an $8 million player, but I think that's the number that will be attached to him.
Say Kuzmenko busts out of his slump.
Yeah, I think
Kuzmenko busts out of his slump and he scores 30 this year. It's got a slow start. Say he pots 32 goals this year.
I'd still keep Brock.
Right. Well, they're both on the table for next year. We have them both next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both these guys are going to need contracts the following year for 25 to 26, right? But Pettersson and Hronek are going to need re-upping. And we know that Tyler Myers is coming off the books. That's $6 million. We're going to be able to make that up. How much money is Philip Hronek going to make? We just talked about the fact that you think Brock's an $8 million player. I'm not going to argue that.
I think Hronek's probably 6 to 7.
I don't think that's enough, man.
And you're probably right. He's probably an 8 too.
I just don't think it's enough. We've played 29 games this year, Ryan. He has 27 points.
Okay, that sucks.
How many point per game defensemen do you know?
The other one is on the Canucks.
There's the other one. There's some guy named Cale Makar.
Yeah.
There's some guy named Carlson. Like, it's a pretty slim list, right?
So now we're looking at
like 11, 10 mil, 10. If Brock is worth 8. Well, what does a right-handed defender that puts up almost a point per game and plays in all situations make?
In his first season here, though. First full season.
This is Brock's first season.
But Brock's been here. But you knew what kind of potential you were going to get because he's already been close to that so many times. This is Hronek.
But Ryan, they're not going to say, Phil, buddy, potential, man. It's only your first season in here in Vancouver. I don't think we can sign you to a big contract like that.
They're going to take a hike. He's going
to say, "Go kick rocks." He's not going to take. This is my first season, and you don't know me very well.
But he's not going to get the bag, though. No, I'm.
You don't think he's going to get the bag? You don't think that Hronek's going to get the bag? He's going to get the bag.
You think so?
Would not shock me if he gets paid like 10 mil. It wouldn't shock me. I could be way off. What the fuck do I know? I don't know.
I think you're Samsoniting on this one.
Maybe it's 9 mil. I don't know. What does he get paid? If he keeps going at this rate, what is a point per game right-handed defenseman make?
Just hear me out for a second. So you're gonna say, I'm not yelling. You're gonna say he's gonna go from 4.4 million. Let's just look at the number for a second. Let's be a little bit real here for 2 seconds, and then we'll get back to it. He's gonna go from 4.4 million to 10 million. He's gonna get a $6 million raise. Come on, man. What NHL is that going to happen? Bro.
Like this one. I cannot wait until this time next year when you're like, Ted, you're right.
That's insane.
I don't know, man. He's a right-handed defender.
I know what he is, but you're going to say, okay, so he's going to get 10 million. Let's just go over some numbers. Let's pretend salary cap.
Let's make the number. Maybe I over-exaggerated. Maybe the number is between 9 and 10 million.
But I'm just saying, like, let's look at, and we're going to take away the salary cap for a second, okay? Just for numbers' sake, we're just going to talk about what these players are worth. Infinity so Elias Pettersson, what's Pettersson going to get? 12?
Max.
Okay, max.
Whatever he wants, that's what they're going to have to pay him, period.
Okay, right? Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
And I think we probably both agree on that. Yeah.
Oh, he better get whatever. You can't let him walk.
He's getting 8 for a long time.
Okay. So now you've got
2029, 2030.
JT Miller's getting 8 until you can't say 8 anymore. Brock Besser, I think he's in the 8 category based on his age, and if he's maintains what he's doing, I think we're in that ballpark.
Sure.
I think they.
What about Kuzi? What does Kuzi get? Say Kuzi bumps out of this slump that he's in, and I think he might be. Who knows?
Good. It's possible.
Yeah.
So you're saying he bumps up, finishes the season with 30?
He just goes back to doing Kuzi things, and he's probably not a 22% shot player. But he's probably more like a 15% or something like that. He's probably a 32, 35 goal guy.
15%
right.
Still.
You know what's crazy about that is that he's got like a longer, a better track record as a goal scorer than Brock, who you're going to give 8 to.
Yeah, but Brock's younger.
He is a year younger. Yeah,
that's true. We've had that argument. So yeah, Kuzmenko, I think that frightens me because now if they're neck and neck as far as production wise, I mean you got me there.
What if we had this conversation last year And I was
I think
like, Brock
we
is up next
probably
year.
did. We
Brock
probably
is up
did have
next
this
year.
conversation.
And Kuzi needs to be re-signed. Which guy are you re-signing?
You know my answer last year.
It's Kuzi, right? You want to watch? You're ready to watch Brock walk.
Unfortunately, I was. It hurt me to say it, but it was the team first. And there was a guy that was. I mean, how was any of us to know?
I think you're proving my point then, right? It's a what have you done for me lately? Brock did nothing last year. You're ready to watch him walk. He looks like he could score 50 plus this year, and you're like, that's the guy. Lock him up for 8. Hronek was good last year, but hurt, right? Played some tough games. This year he's on fire, and you're like, nah, track record, bud.
See, there's too many.
Track record.
You've got me in too many corners on this one. We have to focus on one guy because I can't fight all these fights. I don't have enough of an army to fight this all. You're getting me. I don't have much of an inventory left. I got 1 tank. It's not looking good. It's just not good. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll get back.
I don't know. You just proved your own thing with the Hronek thing.
I probably did.
Well, when it comes to right-handed defensemen, I look at it a little bit differently.
No, I'm just saying I don't think he's going to get a $6 million raise, man. I just don't see that.
Because maybe 6 was a stretch. I did admit that 11 could be a stretch. But if he got 11 and he put up 78 points, would that be a shock to you?
Hronek, probably not on this team, not this year. No.
It wouldn't be, right? It's not that big of a stretch.
It's not quite a what have you done for me lately. If you put up one good season, are we instantly saying like this is what you're going to do every year?
Kind of. Like we went and we paid Andrei Kuzmenko $5.5 million. He had one good season. He didn't have a full good season before he made that contract.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Like,
no, you're right.
Brock got paid 6.65 and didn't have the good seasons. It was all based on potential.
And who signed with that? Wasn't that Benning that signed that one?
Up until this year,
code, right?
Yeah. But that's what he was like. He took a pay cut, I believe, right, from what he could have made.
Here's a question. Just quick.
Sure, I love this. We're spending time. We're talking about the Canucks, right? And future problems. That's what this is.
So let's
future good problems. Thank God.
Let's dial this back to where they have to re-up Brock. Okay, let's go back a year and a bit, right? Okay. And Jim Benning's still here. Let's say it wasn't Jim. Let's say Jim Benning wasn't here. Let's say it was Alvin and Rutherford.
Benning.
Well, whatever. He should have been there tonight. He should have been at the Luongo thing. Like he had nothing to do with it. I don't care. He should have been there. We all know he was the architect of this team. But does Rutherford...
did anybody invite me? I don't think I got my invite.
You don't even go here, man. It's not. This isn't even your time. So
sorry. Finish your thought. Yeah.
Let's say Rutherford and Alvin are here, and we're having this conversation, and Brock's needing to get re-upped, and he's where he was back then.
Okay, so Brock is on pace to score 18.
Having a pretty good 200-foot game, but again, he wasn't the Brock.
I don't think he had a good 200-foot game last year. He was bad defensively last year.
Well, year before I meant. Sorry.
Sure. Okay.
So you're going into that contract. What do you think they do at the time? Let's say the shakeup already happened.
Okay.
So
how much is he? So the scenario with his contract is what? He has 1 year left. He just scored 18 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Kuzi just potted 39.
What do you do?
I probably don't re-up him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably because you know why? Because it's what have you done for me lately? What's happening this year?
I'm stuck.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
That's why I didn't want them to trade Brock when he was not playing well, because like we can probably get more out of him. He's a better player than that. We know that. But to give him up and then to have to give him to give him up like that. What is that? Remember there's like rumors going around. We had to give up like a 3rd round draft pick and Niels Höglander to let him walk. Like, come on. Like he looks like he'd score 50 plus this year. Like, what is that? We can't do that.
And he's laughing.
all
Like,
these people, swaths of people saying trade Brock. Like he was in trade rumors all over the place. I'm sure this was all this guy was hearing about. Trade Brock. Like now he's worth something, and he's got 1 year left in his deal after this season. And everybody's like, give him 8. Give him 8. For how many years should we give him 8, Ryan?
Well,
because you're Mr. Give him 8. How many years should we give him 8?
he's at 20, so he'll be 27. I think he'll a 3-year deal.
You think he's going to sign a 3-year deal after he had a career year?
Well, you're probably right. He's probably gonna have to sign like a 5-year deal.
He's going to want the bag. He's going to want the bag, just like Philip Hronek. You know how old?
This will be his contract.
You know how old Philip Hronek is, Ryan?
He's not.
He's the same age as Brock Besser. They're going to sign identical length contracts. They are wanting to. Like Hronek's going to want he's going to want the Quinn Hughes contract, like in terms of term. He's going to want a 5-6 year deal. He's going to want it for 10 mil. I'm telling you, man. I believe I'm right. I don't know.
The numbers.
The players know. That's the thing about the cap going up, right? That's one thing, right? Okay, all the teams are like, we're gonna have relief, right? Thank God the cap is going up. The players see the cap going up and they're like, I can make more money. You know why? Because cap's going up.
That's all relative.
It really is, right?
They're all seeing it, but it's okay, well, you want more and you want more and you want more. Well, we still have.
It's just inflation, right? I mean, we're all out there trying to make more money because things are more expensive. They have more money to spend. I want more of it. I truly believe he's going to want, if he has weird things can happen. He could just be average for the rest of the season and put up 50 points. He's going to get that, $6 million contract or whatever. But man, I'm telling you right now, if he puts up 78 points or some shit like that he's on pace for,
we're in trouble.
The guy's going to get the bag. He's going to get 10 mil, maybe more. Maybe he takes a hometown discount because Petey's going to play here and all this good stuff. Fuck, Petey could walk. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows. But he's going to get paid. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. You got me so riled up.
I think that's what makes this show so good.
Trying to tell me that he's only going to get 6 mil because he's 26, and then you tell me that Brock's going to get 8 because he's 26. Ryan.
We're going to age now.
Well, that's what you said. I don't know. What have you done for me lately? You know who's not getting re-signed for big money? Tyler Myers. I know that's right. We agree on that.
Wow, way to knock that one out. Way to go. Way to go. Let's talk about something else because I think you could bury me on this and I would just sit here and listen to it anyway. Luongo.
I'm sorry. We talked a lot about that. That's my bad.
Oh,
sorry,
it's fine.
everybody.
Hey, man. This is... People want to see me get bodied or listen to me.
I wish Rayburn was here. You know what? Rayburn, I feel would back me up on this.
He would, and I'd have to...
This might have been the most Rayburn rant that I've had since this show started.
It was pretty close. Actually, I was going to say, I'm like, man, I wish we would have had him on here today. Because that would have been quite fitting. Luongo night. Some people online think he is the greatest Canuck ever. Some people online, you can go and check the receipts for maybe.
I don't need to check receipts. I'm not one of those guys that's going to be like, remember 7 years ago when you said Roberto Luongo was the greatest Canuck ever, you dummy. I hate that when people say that shit.
Okay. Roberto Luongo is...
Did you say it? Did I just call you a dummy?
I didn't say he was the greatest Canuck ever.
Okay, good. I know you would. I know who you like. I know what you like.
Yeah. Dude, obviously it's Lucas Spiza and Ryan Kesser.
Lucas Krajicek was the best player in that trade.
Oh, don't even get me started on him. Don't even get me started. No, Roberto Luongo he is one of the top goaltenders of all time. He is easily up there we've talked about this, the top 5 Canucks. It's just tough.
Best Canuck goaltender of all time.
Oh yeah. With a bullet.
With a bullet. Yeah. Not even a debate.
There's the Sedins. It's just unfortunate because, like I said on Twitter, you guys took the Sedins for granted. You know what? And I was thinking about updating this. Everyone took Luongo for granted. That's the other one, really. both of those, all three of those guys, without them, like this, they wouldn't have had what they had. Luongo did everything while they had nothing. And then when they had something, he put them over the top. The Sedins made all the stuff happen up front. They did all the Sedinery, and Luongo made sure that it stayed that way. That's it.
Yeah.
End of story. That's what it was. Luongo, I mean, I'm a huge, huge Luongo fan. He's just, I mean, just incredible. Like watching the ceremony tonight got me in the feels big time. When he dropped the skate at the end, I'm like, oh man, I could kiss you on the mouth. Like, just, he was so incredible what he did for Canada in the Olympics, even though he almost gave it up. The save on Patrick Sharp, they were showing that clip.
That save is my favorite save that he made.
I still believe there's a clip out there where he doesn't make that save. Like,
I agree. Alternate universe, yeah.
I just feel like that goes in some universe, because
just to come across that blocker, like, you knew it was happening. It was like when you watch Kane on the half boards cut to the net, you're like, fuck.
It was over, because they were so good. And at that point, the Canucks had basically just self-imploded. They just caved in on themselves after they were up 3-0 in the series. And they let them back in. You're thinking, this is happening again. And we all saw it. And then that save happened. And then the goal, and the rest was history. Like, it was, I think we all believe they lost that game. Really.
I mean, there was this, like, everybody talks about the Burroughs goal, the slaying the dragon thing, right? But the save on Sharp, that to me was the turning point.
It was the K-Tel Patty Stacker of 2011. That was the Kirk McLean 2.0.
Yeah, that was the signature, right? I mean, it's not going to be remembered like that, I don't think, but
it should be.
For me,
it was. It was the same identical type of save, like not the same save. You know what I mean? It was the same
in terms of like weight, right? Like how important that save was.
Because then you see the Burroughs goal, and in '94 you see the Bure goal. It's the same thing. It was the same scenario. And somehow that managed to happen. Roberto Luongo.
And I wonder.
Yeah, sorry.
I wonder, being a Chicago guy, like, we had a Chicago guy working at the shop around the same time. I wonder, thinking to myself, like, seeing that save, did you think that we needed to bury that one? No, this is going to come up and bite us in the ass. Like, I wonder if Chicago fans thought that.
I think it's tough because they already had their cup. Yeah. Right? But I think they should have, because we all thought it. We thought it as the team cheering for that team, and we thought it was over. So rightfully so. I would think every Chicago fan would think that. So anyway.
I mean, there's a million things we can talk about Luongo and all of his time here, but I think it started with him the moment that they made that trade, which I heard a really cool story on.
Speaking of Rayburn.
Yeah, no, I heard a cool story on like Sportsnet 650. Sat was talking to Dave Nonis, right? And then they were talking about how they went out and tried to acquire Luongo and what it was like to get a hold of him, and the fact that if you're ever gonna try to make a trade, always ask for a little something extra, right? And how they made this deal, and he was like, we're giving up 3, you're giving up 2. Lots of players come back. I can't just do that. You need to throw in a pick or something like that. And it was like a 5th round draft pick, and he was thinking, like, did I screw this deal by asking for a 5th round draft pick because the phone went quiet for a minute, right?
Yeah,
I think we've all been there, right? We all play fantasy sports, and you try to make the deal, and you try to get a little extra. Steve is like Mr. Chisel when it comes to getting the extra pick, right? For those who don't know Steve, he's on the Thano podcast with us, big fantasy football guy, and him and Chris have the podcast, the Ballhawks podcast. But great guys, and I just thought that was like, we made the trade. Nonis somehow managed to pull it off. Right, which I didn't have a lot of faith in Nonis back then. And Luongo hits, and it's made official that he's a Vancouver Canuck. And instantly, there's this level of legitimacy and credibility that just like sweeps over all of Canuck Nation. Right, this team goes from looking like an also ran that is inconsistent from season to season, that just watched, guys like Naslin sort of step down, and the Bertuzzi thing, he's going the other way, and all those guys, the old guard, the Jovanovskis of the world, right? I mean, we were going through just strange weirdness with goaltenders and guys like Kluche.
Yeah.
Luongo arrives on scene, and it's like, whoa, the Canucks are for real.
And then Willie Mitchell
themselves.
comes in on.
Yeah. Bill Pickle, right? I mean, we went from a team that looked like it was declining to an instant reset. I mean, that is something that, even though the trade was sort of like teed up for Nonis, he still made it. He still had to go get the player. He still had to deal the Bertuzzi, right? And I mean, that led to so many other things, right? I mean, we didn't know at the time that we had 3 legitimate superstars on that roster. We didn't know that. We were like, we got Luongo, right? And that was Rayburn's guy. And
he was on holidays. He was on holidays for that trade. I called him and I went to voicemail, and I'm freaking out because it was a Friday, right? I'm pretty sure it was a Friday. I'm absolutely losing it. And he was on holidays at the lake or something, had his phone off. And I'm freaking, and I remember I said, you have to call me back. I said, the Canucks just got Luongo. I'm not even kidding. It's official. Everything's changed. And
everything's changed.
Monday, the holiday Monday, I think it was. And he's like, I just got back. Crazy. I'm like, dude, that was 3 days ago.
I mean, the amount of players that it was just legitimacy. It was instant. It was, and you could feel it right away, right? Like people around the league, the Canucks are feeling, Matt Sundin, all the stuff, right? Like things that this roster, this Canucks franchise never would have dreamed of touching, started happening because a guy like Roberto Luongo became a Vancouver Canuck, and not only became a Vancouver Canuck, but bought into what it was to be a Canuck, and not like, this is what it's like to be a Canuck. No, he came here, was a Canuck, and said, this is what it is like to be a Canuck. And he set the standard moving forward. And that really changed everything. That changed everything from what the league thought. It changed everything from fan expectations. That's why we've been living through 10 years of like, what is going on with this franchise? Because we have high expectations because of what Luongo and Henrik and Daniel and all those guys did for all those years. And it all started with Luongo, period.
It did. It was, there's so much to get, like, we could almost do a Luongo show. We really could.
This is, I mean, basically is, other than the fact that we spent, 30 minutes talking about, I think Hronik's not going to make that much money. You want to wrap Brock up for 6 years.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll carry this off there. That's fine. Let's get into the good stuff, and then we're almost done. Good Branson, I finally sent you that clip. You saw it the other day. Undertaker gets up.
It's just so good. He's like, I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. I'm going to kill this guy.
It just out of nowhere, like, comes out of the casket, choke slam over, and then he did actually, I think, choke slam later in the period.
What is it? What happens on that play? Like, you're hurt? Are you hurt so bad that you are out? Like, all that occurred to me was like when we hit you in the head with the garbage can and you starfished in the pool like you were dead, and then all of a sudden jumped up. Right? It was the same freaking thing. He was fine. Is that the same as a dive?
I think
he's lying on the ground hurting. So
just like Erica Branson might have won that silver medal, but gold medal performance, because when he got up, it was like he get up. The only thing I think anyone, mostly guys, would have thought of is, oh, he just pulled off the Undertaker, because we've grown up with, oh, it's over. It's over. Nope. It was incredible. But I mean, good on him. He's earning that last little bit of his career being the tough guy, which he never really was in Vancouver, but pretty cool to see that he
was pretty tough. He was pretty tough. He was one of the only guys who gave a shit, I feel like, when it came to that kind of stuff.
But whatever. He got the bag. He got the bag.
He's not the prototypical tough guy, but I mean, I feel like I will give him some credit because I dumped on that guy a lot when he was here.
I think we all did. It was worth it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what? I feel like we should do an Eric Goodbranson with Tyler Myers and re-up. Let's double down.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Please don't do that. We'll get into right at the end. We're also going to talk about our episode next week. We got to figure out a date. We're going to do that for the Christmas show. And then that's going to be it for like 2 weeks or something, because it's our show and we can do whatever the heck we want. But now it is our new segment. We don't have a sponsor for it yet, but we could use a sponsor because I've got some good ideas for an official T-shirt, actually.
Oh, okay.
I think we can do some T-shirts on the cheap for good quality. I mean, we do some pretty good T-shirts anyway, but you pointed at me.
I mean, I'm there. Oh, I was gonna. It was actually not this game, but last game. Quinn was having an interview, and I wanted to talk a little bit. And we spent a lot of time on other stuff, but I wanted to talk a little bit about.
No, you did.
We did. I'm sorry. The maturation of, not the pasteurization, but the maturation of Quinn Hughes. I don't know. Something really like took me in this interview that he had, and talking about guys like Kuzmenko and how we're going to need him down the run. And I don't know who had a chance to see this. Maybe you saw this interview, and I know that this isn't the first interview with Quinn, but like it just occurred to me like that just in this past year, like how much he's grown,
he's
right?
An adult.
Like he really is. Like he speaks with such like, you know, when you were seeing hockey player interviews, I feel like I got this a lot from Bois, and I liked Bois as a leader because he went out and did it on the ice and for a team that wasn't very good for a long time.
Right.
But this has got some really talented players on it. Guys like, you know, JT and PD, who I feel like, you know, respect Quinn just as much as he does them. And it wasn't the Sedin's, you know, forte to give these big elaborate interviews, but we watch guys like Brock and we hear Quinn, and we get interviews, and we don't feel like, I don't know about you, but I don't always feel like I get something out of the interview every time I hear them talk. Right. I'm like, yeah, hockey stuff.
It's a lot of hockey talk. Yeah.
Pucks on net, you know, we're working on, it's an important game for us, 60 minutes, blah, 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 200 feet, all the stuff. Right. But like when he speaks, like I feel like I'm getting something insight from the game, almost like almost like a color guy in an interview, right? I'm seeing a side of the game that I wouldn't seen without his insight. And I appreciate that Quinn shares that, and he does it so articulately. And he discusses portions of the game that I don't think we all see. And then the way that he talks about the players as if we're all growing and we're all developing together, but I am the leader, and it's very apparent, but he doesn't have to toot his own horn to do it.
Right.
And I think that just seeing this change with him over the last, and I don't know if you've seen it too, but over the last, like, you know, 6-8 weeks, he's really becoming the face of the Vancouver Canucks. And I don't think since Linden have I seen such good interviews, such quality interviews come from a leader on this Canucks squad since Quinn. And he's really good, man. I'm more sold now than ever that this is the right guy to captain this team.
And that's why they gave him the C. Like right at the end of last season, right at the end of last season, when you started to hear him speak up on how things were going, and he had a voice. And when that talk was, who, you know, it looks like it's either Pettersson or Hughes as the captain, maybe JT, and you just saw him speaking out more, right? And now it's happened. And he is speaking out more, but you're right. He's got the intelligent thing to say, but he's backing it up. I mean, right? All the best players, all the captains that are those best players, they back it up. They back it up with their mouth. But in his case, like, listen, I don't ask you to be what I'm doing, but I'm just saying, listen, I'm busting my ass to do this. So at the very least, you guys have to do the same thing. And I think they are.
100%. I feel like there's lots of times where a guy gets named captain because he's the best player on the team. And there's lots of times where a young guy comes in and becomes the captain because he's the future of the franchise. And I don't think I do think all of those things about Quinn, but I don't think that's the reason he got the job. Right? Yeah. I really do think he's those things as well, but he is the guy, and he really is a leader, and the way he speaks, man, I don't think I've ever said this about players before, but just so good. Just so impressed.
Yeah. He's intelligent, and there's something to be said for that, right? Intelligence, because it's not, I mean, there's smart people, and look how many, like, you look at a lot of the fighters that have gone to
NCAA university players, like these guys have,
but they're not always that guy. And then you look at him and, like, you know, he's hockey smart, and he's smart, and he's media smart, And I think there's a lot of those things that they've grown up seeing how this all works, right? Especially with social media so prevalent in the last decade. He knows what is going to be said about them. He knows what's going to be said in the room.
Thoughtful.
He knows what people are saying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Look at you. Well done. I appreciate that. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Here's the new clip. So after I play this, you can tell me what's going on, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Top five, top five, top five.
Top five, top five, top. I like it.
Yeah. One more time.
Top five, top five, top five.
Okay, so this week's top 5, we've already had we had like best 90s cartoons, 90s 80s cartoons, right? The Saturday morning stuff. Yeah, last week we hit on best Christmas gifts as a kid, right? You could have got them or not got them, but the ones that you really wanted, right? So this week I switched it. I was thinking myself, like, I want to know not the best players in the league, but I want to know like the most exciting players in the league. And then I said halfway through, because we really got talking about Roberto Luongo, I'm going to switch it. And I'm going to do top 5 goalie masks of all time. If we're talking swag, the swaggiest masks of all time. And I did switch this 10 minutes into the episode. And I think you've been looking at the rundown. But I'll throw a few out there for you, Ryan.
No,
I always go back to the McDonald's goalie masks. If you remember
They're
this,
in the other room. I've got them in the other room.
Yeah, if you remember this, you don't remember Brodeur, but you remember Joseph and the Cujo mask, right? You remember Felix Potvin, these guys that had these masks that went from team to team to team, and they always stayed, right? They did a version of this mask every time. These guys were known for these masks. And it was before the time of the Luongos, before a guy would set in with like 8, 9, 10 different masks in a year, right? So you got the Belfour, you got the McLean, obviously the Brodeur, right? So those are all the ones that we remember, and those are in your top 5 list. That's fine, but I would like to know your top 5, and we can just go back and forth. You starting with number 1, and in no particular order, top 5 goalie masks. Okay.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't include this, and you can put this 1 through 5. It classifies all 5, but you can put it wherever you want and you'd be right. But the OG Felix Potvin mask.
Oh, the Maple Leafs one.
The first one. He had better ones. It actually wasn't teeth, and I'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
He had better ones, but that one, I think when it came out, it was so incredible when it came out. Like, every kid wanted that mask. We all did. And I wasn't a Maple Leafs fan, but I was a Felix Potvin fan. He had the co-host set up. He came in. He was not one of the first guys, because other guys did it, but he really ran with, the cat fur on the pads.
The eye. Yeah. Is this the one you're talking about right here?
Yeah. No, that's the next one. So that wasn't the first one, but that one was just as good. So his rookie season one had kind of looked like chompers on the bottom.
This is the rookie season one right here.
Yeah. That was the one.
Yeah, cool mask. And all those guys, like, those were fun too, because all those guys we talked about earlier, and I think we could probably put like Tim Cheveldae on that list too. They all had, like, they were all rocking Vaughn Legacy pads.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For me, my first one is Felix Potvin.
Okay. And in no particular order. So, yeah, I was a big fan of the Potvin mask too. So good for you on naming that one.
I think if you're a 90s kid if you're a 90s kid or even close to that, Felix Potvin had your.
So what were the teeth then? You said you were going to go into that. Those are not cat teeth?
So I have to go. It was like a cat, because it was Felix the cat was the whole setup. So I interviewed, and I'm gonna find these conversations. I have the.
You should repost this interview, because it was a really good one.
I really wanted to post these as podcasts, but they're hour-long conversations. So I had John Garrett, I had Greg Harrison, who designed a lot of these masks. I had Kirk McLean. I interviewed Corey Hirsch. He gave me some cool ones that he never wore, but he sent me a picture. I'll have to find those photos too. Eddie Lack chatted with me. We just more of kind of email and texting and stuff. And then there's one more that I'm forgetting. But anyway, yeah, it was the Felix the cat kind of cover, and then it was like the cat fur was basically down. But I'll find the interview because they were awesome. Did them for Canucks Army during the not the lockout.
Was this
during
a
COVID.
Harrison mask?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. And you can
Yeah.
tell, right? I mean, yeah.
Certain
cool
guys
stuff.
have certain styles for sure. So yeah, I reached out to as many people that would answer my phone. And oh man, like you want to talk about geeking out for the guests we got. When you get to pick a goalie's brain for an hour about his goalie mask and how he got to that look. Greg Harrison I spoke to for an hour and a half. He actually had to like finally tell him like I had to go. Because he just kept talking. And I'm like
that's cool stuff though.
It was incredible. Like the audio on it, like just how it's just incredible. But yeah, just so cool. And then to have the Felix the cat winking on the back. He had a little design of Felix winking on the back. Very, very cool. So
yeah.
Felix Potvin, number one.
Felix Potvin, number one. All right. So I'm gonna go to Corey Hirsch and the Psycho House mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy amount of detail. Grown up Canucks skate logo. Everybody called it the Halloween jersey, right? It was the classic Halloween colors, and I think Hirsch, he really sort of embraced that, right? So the whole Psycho House, if you've seen the movie, you get it. It's got the tombstones, the super creepy house. It's got the lady up in the window, right?
Interesting story about that one too.
That was a fantastic season for him too. So that was kind of his coming out party.
Interesting story about that one. So we were talking about mental health a lot when we were chatting, and like how like he had some demons and stuff that he was fighting back then, and still it is to this day, I believe. But yeah, I just asked him about that. Again, I'm pretty sure it was a question that was in the interview, but you know, if that factored into some of the designs on there, he's like, actually, yeah, there was some stuff on there, as you know, fighting some stuff. So their personalities definitely come out in these things. So
yeah, one of the unique things for pro sports that no other league I feel like gets to do that. Not league, but game. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm gonna throw up another one. I loved it in his rookie season. Oh my gosh, just had his name. Patrick Lalime.
Oh, the Martian
igloo. He had the igloo with the two little eyes sticking out. And I'm going to add this back to the stage. So
yeah, this was a fantastic season. Their mask.
So not that one. His rookie Pittsburgh one. Was that it? No, that's in Buffalo.
I mean, it looks a lot like that though.
Well, it looks way cool. There we go. That's the one. The little penguin sticking out.
And the Penguins had a bunch of guys with cool masks, right? I mean, and it always kind of happened sort of like that. Lalime and his crazy run as a rookie goaltender. I always think back to Johan Hedberg and the Moose mask.
Oh, yeah.
And just really fun stuff. Yeah. Another one I think of is Martin Gerber wearing the all black mask for the Sens because you get it painted. Start calling him Darth Gerber. Yeah. A lot of fun, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I also really liked Roman Turk's masks. Always had Eddie, Iron Maiden Eddie on there. So also very cool. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, great pick. Like that one a lot. That one's super fun. I'm going to go with the Luongo X Ridley mask. Was a huge fan of this mask. It reminded me so much of X-Men. I think it showed up even better on this mask than it did in the Ridley. Was one of the first guys to really go with like the flat coloring, right? I mean, there was no shine to it at all. You see some flat black stuff come out, but he was the guy that was like, we're going flat everything, right? Flat cream color, flat blue, flat green. Super stylish mask, very simple. Obviously paid homage to Ridley, but very, very, very cool mask in my opinion.
So you know what's funny? Favorites. Corey Hirsch actually rocked that before Luongo perfected it. So that's a season or two before did I say Corey Hirsch? Corey Schneider.
You did,
sorry.
You did say Corey Hirsch. Yeah. The Hirsch one is good too. The Hirsch one is very good too, but it's like,
no, but I meant to say Corey Schneider. He had the same mask. I've got it pulled up. You can put it up on the screen if you like. But he did actually bust it out. He did a little bit of a different version of that one. And he had like the Johnny Canuck V, the Sean logo on the sides there in the background. But yeah, actually, go figure. Corey Hirsch rocked that mask in the Stanley Cup final. Go figure.
There you go.
So good pick. Good pick.
Very cool. Very cool.
You know what? We're gonna stick with Luongo for a second. I have already brought it up in the show.
You can screen share it.
Well, I'm gonna get you. Do you still have your screen going?
Yeah.
His Olympic mask.
Oh yeah.
The gold one with the little rings in it. I've seen it in person at Rogers Arena, as many of you have as well. That mask, and plus he had the Canadian Johnny Canuck. So that was about like it was Canadian Johnny Canuck on the top. He was rocking that mask originally as a Canuck one, and then he brought it it's that one hits hard so much because of the amount. Yeah, actually, I can't remember what website this is, but they go in crazy detail on it. So if there's one with the 1 on it, I swear. But you get
right there.
Yeah, so you had the Johnny Canuck. He changed it to the Canada colors. And then, like I said, the golden one, and I don't know if you can zoom in on it, probably not.
The one?
If you look, there are rings inside of the one. And again, you might not be able to see it on the screen. Maybe they just didn't get a good photo of it. Anyway, it is an incredible mask, and it obviously holds a crazy amount of nostalgia. What it meant when we won on home ice, living down there, working the Olympics. It was incredible. And again, the attention to detail on it, it took what his great mask was already, and it bumped it up to the next level. So for me, I would say Roberto, Team Canada.
Super, super awesome mask. Mine is not going to be as good as that intro. I don't know how you beat that.
Goalie masks and me I've got a sick relationship with them.
I was a huge fan of this Jocelyn Thibault mask. Wasn't worn for a lot of years. Really embodied the whole Montreal thing.
Oh yes, that's the mask I've got on my. That was the other one that was in the McDonald's ones.
Tremendously sharp. I mean that Habs logo is what it is. It's been around forever. But being able to somehow interpret that onto this mask and have that feel, and not even know there's not a Canadians logo anywhere on there, but look from looking at it exactly what you're looking at, and it sort of gives you that old feel of looking at like almost like a reverse Ken Dryden mask, right? I mean the old wired cages that those guys used to use in a mold, like it kind of give you that feel, and I don't think we've ever seen a unique mask quite like this too. So. Shortly thereafter, he was traded to Colorado for some guy named Patrick Bois.
Worked out okay.
And his masks were never as cool, but this one is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, it worked out okay.
Yeah.
For, one of them. That's a good pick. I'm going to go old school for a second. It's been redone a few times currently. I don't know about this season, but it has been redone a few times. If you don't like this mask, you don't like hockey, you don't like goalie mask, Jerry Cheevers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I had heard some funny story that every time he got hit, it was a new stitch, right?
Yeah. Now, it wasn't in the face, or how did they say it? It wasn't in, I can't remember if it was in the face or if maybe it was every time he got hit. The Jerry Cheevers one, and there's Steve Shields did one, and I think someone else has done one as well. But that mask that's one of the big reasons goalie masks are so cool, because that's when you really saw personality come. It wasn't just a protection thing. When you saw a guy drawing the stripes on it, I'll pull that up here. Yeah. Like what's not to like, honestly? It's like scary, but it's still so neat. Like it's just, I don't know. Like you have to geek out on that. I'm sorry, you just do.
Yeah, absolutely. Great mask, fantastic mask.
Who do you got?
Are
we getting on the bottom ones here?
We're getting pretty close, right? I think we're
I got one. I got two. I got three. I got four. So you're on your fifth one. Oh no, you're on your fourth one. I apologize.
No, I'm on my fourth one. So fourth one, I feel like I shouldn't even share this, but fourth one is not Jerry Cheevers. Fourth one for me was Steve Shields.
Oh, so you went then? Oh, you got rid of it.
It wasn't doing anything, so I thought maybe I didn't have it on there.
Sorry,
Go for the window.
I was a different screen. Apologies to the chef.
So that's funny that you picked Jerry, and then I picked the reincarnation of Jerry Cheevers.
And that was really well done at the time.
He was the first guy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was the first guy to do it. So that was a lot of fun. And then obviously the Ridley one came. I think it was Corey Schneider that you said did the version of this too. Also awesome. But nobody did it like this, right? There was that Russian guy who did a version that we were talking about early in this one. So that's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. We're getting to the tough part because
we can make it 6. Let's do 2 more. We'll do 2 more because this is fun.
Geez. Okay. This one again, I feel is super easy to say. He broke our hearts in 1994, but it is still one of the most iconic goalie masks. Ted, you know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Richter for Ryan. With a bullet.
Oh, with a bullet. That's your number 1 all-time favorite mask?
Not number 1, but it's in there. It's top 5 for me. With a bullet.
Yeah, I mean this mask, like really, like there's the McDonald's mask, right? But this mask, I mean, the third jersey was kind of, I feel like, based off this mask, right? Richter,
that's
was one
New
of those,
York, man. Like you see that,
it really is. Yeah.
If you said like for someone random growing up, like, hey, what's something you remember about New York and sports? And I'm sure there's a lot of answers, but to me, like you see that and you're like, that's New York. Like that's New York and that's sports.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nostalgia thing because I think Henrik had a better jersey or better mask. Sorry.
Yeah.
But this is more iconic.
Yeah. Henrik Lundqvist. I was thinking about him too. He had one of those white masks, I think, too, right?
I mean, he had a bunch, but
I'm pretty sure he had one of the white ones too. Maybe he didn't. He did what was the one, or was it just his gear with the pinstripes that year? Remember when they had the pinstripe pads and everything for the outdoor game?
Yeah, those were also sweet. Yeah.
I mean, again, goalie equipment, geez, how much time do you have? Honestly.
Yeah.
Goalie equipment.
Rocking those TPS pads. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Good
pick. I'm gonna go a little off the board. And so this will be my 5th, and then I got a bonus one. Okay. But I'm going way back, and I'm going like expansion era, and not the first expansion era, but like the second modern era expansion era, if that makes sense.
So we're talking like Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and them?
No, like more modern than that. So like, I'll just pop it up here.
Bear. Is it
not Guy Bear? Guy Bear would have been a fun one.
Oh, Hayward.
But I'm going Brian Hayward in the shark head. And it was really close for me between that and Van Wiesbroek's panther head, which is in the background there.
And that's a good one too. And the Cujo. Yeah.
But
it was so real looking, right?
It was great. What an awesome mask, right? I mean,
it was real. And I remember, like, I wasn't sure if I loved it because I'm like, it just seems like, why would someone want a real shark head? Like,
yeah, other guys have done it. Like, I think this is Steve Shields again here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Other guys have done it, but nobody did it like Hayward did it. It's just look at that. That's intimidating.
It's so, like I said, it's real. Like they just took a photo and just made it real. I don't know.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Do I have one left or am I done?
I think your next one's 5, and then I had a bonus.
Okay. I mean, Thatcher's had some good ones. The skate logo ones have been pretty crazy good. What was the one? He had a skate one. I think it was his first skate mask. There's so many. I even have a hockey news of just goalie masks.
Do you remember Alex Ald's mask with the shark head that was kind of like the Brian Hayward one?
Yeah. Good old baby giraffe. You know what? I'm going to throw this one out again because it's the show and I want us to be able to go to bed at a reasonable time. Hopefully you can pull this one up. I thought this was super cool. This was a few years back.
Okay. Hope you don't
Speaking of
steal
the
mine.
Ducks, it's
Mhm.
it's the Ducks. Jonas Hiller. So this was it's like a matte
I know
black.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And it has the duck web on one side and on the other. One is of whatever the pond is called, their arena. The others has a surfer, and then there's a bunch of little duck webs, and it just says Anaheim in like a marquee in black and white. Kind of has like a what's it called? Like an oil rub bronze look. That's the one. When that came out, again, you have to appreciate these guys when these things come out. They could be goalies or teams you hate. But if somebody brings some style, when that, because they had the black, I guess it was still like their 07, 08 jerseys, but it came out, yeah, there's the matte black. I think he wore that just before. And it's just so crisp. If you appreciate detail, that is a phenomenal mask. It really is.
That was a fun one too.
That is really cool. There's
the mustache mask.
That was the Movember one. That was really neat. Did you see the Winter Classic one for Seattle? I don't know if that's going to be on your list or not.
It's not. We can look
So
it
it
up,
has
though.
all the Mariners cards on it. There's like Griffey rookie cards and stuff on it. It's so neat. Very, very on brand. It's very Seattle, but it has baseball cards littered all over the mask. It's so clever. And that's the beauty of it. That's why like customization has taken off so much. And you see all these masks. Like I highly suggest you guys go and follow Dave Art on Instagram, follow Greg Harrison on Instagram, follow who's the other one? Oh, there's one more. And all these people, they put every time there's new masks getting released, every time there's new masks getting released, you see these things. Like, how great is that? That's
so good. All that cross sport stuff's fun. Like the Winter Classic game where the Sabres wore the Buffalo Bill jerseys. So cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So cool.
It's just clever. And you have to appreciate those things. You don't have to love every little thing, but when you see guys that are doing something like Hayward, or you see Jocelyn Thibault, or you like, sometimes just appreciate like that they went outside the box to do something, right? It's not just a paint job. And like there's like that's really neat.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
You know, like there's like I said, goalie masks and goalie equipment. I've always been a fan since I've been that's insane looking. Since I was a kid, I've always been infatuated with goalie gear because it's the only position in hockey where you can be personal.
I'm there with you.
And I mean, anyway.
So I'm 100% down on that. That's like, it was goalies and their equipment that got me into hockey to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah. And you were a goalie.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a good one, but yeah.
But you were. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the bonus one because I feel like it should get them love. And I thought it was really
Who was
cool.
your last one? Who did you have as your last one?
Prior to this was the Hayward one.
Hayward, right. Okay.
Yeah. But Kari Ramo.
The brains?
And the brains peeking out the top of the mask. It wasn't like he had a long career. Neat. But this was a really smart mask, right? I mean, it was really played. I mean, a little bit like the Patrick Lalime mask, sort of breaking through. You weren't sure what's under, right? And he went a little bit step further, being like, "Yo, under here is like literally my brains."
Graphic, cartoony brains.
Graphic, cartoony brains. The pink, right? All the matter had nothing to do at all whatsoever with the team jersey or colors. It was very Tampa on the bottom, and it was something completely different up top. And another guy who did some weird stuff like this was Mason when he was with the Blue Jackets. He did like a Saw mask, which was awesome, right? Like some horror stuff. And but this mask I feel like was a little bit underrated. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. It's probably not on a lot of lists, but to me, this was one that was really popular.
Yeah. Way to go.
So that was fun. Sorry, we wasted a lot of time there.
Well, whatever.
Okay. Probably took about 30 more minutes than we needed to because of the
video is worth it, folks. So in case you're like, oh man, this podcast is really dragging on. But I mean, we described it, I think, fairly well. If this was an audiobook, I think we did our job.
Yeah.
But I do suggest watching on YouTube because that's where the
This would
gold
be a
is. You
good
get
one.
to see you get to see our faces. Plus, I've
This would
done
be a
some
good one.
wicked jobs on our graphics. So, you know, that's what we do. This is how the bills are paid. One more time.
Top five.
Thank you, Drake. Appreciate it. We're gonna do our Christmas episode next week. We haven't figured out a day. It might be Wednesday. For some reason,
what we're doing.
So we're gonna have, like I said, everybody's gonna throw out their Canucks memories as like an ornament. We're gonna throw out the link to a bunch of people. Feel free to show up. We'd appreciate it. 5 minutes or so. Come say hi. 2 minutes even. Or peace. Or are you just saying peace? I'm not sure. But we just have some fun. Just an excuse to get together with a lot of people, our fave peoples, and maybe people we haven't chatted with. So we're gonna throw that out there. But other than that, this episode, it was a banger. It was very retro-y. I had fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it's great. It was a lot of
It
fun.
was pretty good. I enjoy arguing with you because I feel that sometimes I win and sometimes I get bodied. And I think this was one of those times I got bodied. I don't mind getting absolutely crunched into the boards and like just clawing my way back up.
And I mean, you could be right. Yeah, maybe I was just loudest. I don't know.
That's a lot of money, man. That's a big raise. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
6 schmilly. Like if I walked into my boss's office, I'm like, hey man, I need to be making at least 6 figures next year. He's gonna look and be like, you can find another job.
Yeah.
Because we can replace you.
I need at least 6 years and 8 million per.
Yeah. That's hey. I mean, all the power to him. It's just I don't know if the construct works that way. So whatever.
Yeah.
All good. This has been fun, folks. Make sure you go and can you do us a favor? Go on to our Instagram and on our Twitters. Just get a like in there, get a follow. Like the further we're followed, the more we can reach and tell more people about who we are. If you're listening, be a friend as a Christmas gift to us. If you don't come on the show, just tell somebody about our YouTube or our Facebook or something. We'd appreciate it. That's it. Or even go and buy one of our shirts on our Spreadshirt. I put them all down to what our cost is. So we're not making any money. We just don't want people to wear our stuff. Literally, there's zero profit. We will see 0 cents from anything you buy on that website. We just want people to wear our cool stuff. That's it. That's pretty fair ask, I think. We don't have a Patreon.
That's
Not
it. That's
yet.
all.
We just want to share. Just want to share. Anyway, this has been fun. It's a good time.
Good times.
I play you in fantasy football this week. It worries me, but that's okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You got the matchup you want.
It'll be okay. CJ Stroud looks like he may not play, and I don't know who you have as your backup QB. So
Joe Flacco.
that sucks because he may do well. It could be one of those times where I eat everything I say, but that's fine.
I think I have Flacco and Fields, so I'm starting one of those guys. They're playing against each other.
Fields could have a good game. I'm betting on the Bears to win. So who knows? It's bad news.
Yeah.
On behalf of Ted, I'm Ryan. This is the PP1 Podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. This is where you find all hockey podcasts, even shows like Trust the Process with our good friends Jordan Bowman and Wyatt Arndt. He's had some things to say. Free the skate, I believe, is what he says the most. So follow their show at the very least, plus all the other hockey shows. But enjoy this Canucks run. We got another game on Saturday against Mini. That's not fun. In the morning, good times. So, maybe go get whatever you need to do done in the morning so you can watch the game. Or just catch it after they win in the afternoon. Have a great week, folks. Rock and roll. Peace out.